Let's go. Hey, let's go. Can
Yo, what's up, guys?
hey, the live stream's up. I'm gonna. I gotta test my audio. Can anyone hear me fine? I gotta set all the promotions on Twitter real quick. Also, I got green screen. 4 people. I've never done this before.
Lost Arthur.
Alright. Huh? Oh, is something wrong?
Oh, you lost Arthur.
What happened? He's
Not in
on
the-
the chat. If you want, I can I could leave and come back. Oh, there we go.
Hello?
Hey, Arthur,
we go.
buddy. Arthur Greenwood.
Yo, you guys are really quiet for some reason.
Yo,
Try turning your audio up if that's the case. I want to see if I'm on the right audio microphone. No, this should be the right microphone.
yeah, I'm on the right one. So, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. And where's Empirical Man?
He's working.
Oh, you couldn't come?
No,
It's fine. It's fine. I get
it's that
I get
cursed
you.
Central Time.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely get you. I know timing sucks, especially y'all are doing like. Did you get out of college already, or you dealing with getting a job and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've been out of college for a long time, so.
Yo, what's up, boys? I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Hey, what's up? I got literally my.
Hey,
suit.
guys.
I got like a suit on. Oh, I got a button the top. I think I buttoned my vest a little wrong. I gotta fix that. I was in a hurry. Got back from a car ride with my family.
Where were you guys?
We just drove around. I'm in a rural area, so it's really fun.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I go.
Yeah, Is the audio okay? Is the audio quality okay? I'm driving in the car right now, so it's kind of like rainy and stuff.
Yeah, your audio's good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, fix the vest. I'm gonna promote this on my YouTube and Twitter. Twitter's so addictive for me. I love it, but I gotta lay off of it.
Dude, it's terrible, man. I downloaded it again like 3 days ago, and I'm like, man, I really have to regulate myself and not like just become a total addict.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm constantly downloading it and installing it. I communicate with a lot of people on there, so.
That's the thing. It's kind of necessary.
Yeah. At least Twitter's now more or less on our side. We definitely.
Oh yeah, for
close
sure.
to us now. I remember that one chart.
We have conquered Twitter.
Yeah, I remember this. This is the big, I guess, white pill veil. 70% of Twitter users are now men. It used to be majority female, actually.
Oh.
2011. It was once the Stacy that dominated, and now it is us, the boys.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's the biggest white pill.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we
Can
can.
you guys
Yeah,
still
I hear you.
me? Okay, good. So I'll make sure my internet's not dying. All right, sweet.
How do you like
Are we still waiting on someone?
No, I think that's everybody.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, promote on Twitter.
I
Now I gotta like post it on my YouTube.
See, this is why StreamYard is better, because you can do links and stuff. Like, so much
Yeah.
easier to promote the stream.
I'll do StreamYard right after because I didn't know much about it until now. I'll use it next time.
But I watched a couple of Arthur's videos I like him. I like his stuff.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah, it's good. It's high quality.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which ones did you watch?
I watched the one on advertisement, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely agreed with a
I
lot.
hate commercials.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm proud of that one.
It's
That
gotten
one
really
was
out of hand,
a
I think.
special one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. I have a couple I disagreed with more. I think there was one. Hold on, let's see.
Ooh, infighting. Let's go. I'm joking, man.
Nah, not infighting. Like we're always gonna have this small disagreements, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's that.
Yeah, we had our own little infight or like disagreement on Twitter.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I posted my reasons.
let's see. What was the?
I posted my reasons. If you did see them.
Sorry, what?
I posted my reasons.
Oh, no, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a fine reason. I don't.
It was the conservative case for carless cities. That's the one I'm not really convinced
yeah.
by.
Oh, okay.
But,
That was one of the more controversial ones.
Yeah, I understand that you're trying to, kind of be a little contrarian, be a little edgy. I get it.
I don't know if carless cities is edgy so much as just like not mainstream conservative.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the case for it, for sure. But like I think the left tends to come at it from this angle of like, well, fossil fuels equal bad, so we need no cars. And that's a really cringe position, obviously.
I mean, to some extent, yeah, but I also do think like fossil fuels are kind of a bad thing. I mean, this might be one of our ideological disagreements, as I'm more of like a eco-conservative.
Well, I'm very pro-environment. Like I'm more pro-environment than your average conservative. But the propaganda surrounding something like climate change is total. If you research it, it's completely made up. It's a World Economic Forum, essentially propaganda piece. So, I wouldn't buy any of that.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I'll have to look into that more. That's not one of the things that I.
Like, yeah, have you researched like the actual science behind it? I've done extensive research on like climatology, so.
I mean, I've done a little bit, not extensive. For me, it's more just empirical. Like in my own life, I've seen the snows get smaller every year where I live, and now it just kind of doesn't snow at all. So I mean, I think there's like kind of firsthand evidence that there is global warming.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree with that. I mean, even if there is some, the idea that man-made stuff is impacting it to the degree that they're trying to ascribe it is not proven, because the amount of added carbon to the atmosphere compared to the total chemical makeup of the atmosphere is something like 0.008% or something like that. So really it is a tool of the establishment to try and rid us of any form of carbon related products. And I think something like getting rid of automobiles is kind of a symbol of individual autonomy in the state, because they would love electric vehicles because they love to be able to shut down your electric vehicle when they don't want you to travel somewhere, aka vid 2.0 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
you want to go real quick?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Bennett.
Okay. Well, the two things I want to address. One, as a Texan, I really hope that climate change doesn't ever exist. Otherwise, I'll be roasted. But to my research, I haven't found any evidence. And the second point is, I'm more environmental when it comes to preserving the trees and forests, the ponds. I'm not really concerned over the carbon emissions. It's not really. I think there's two divides there. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I think we can all be a little more friendly towards the preservation of our natural forests.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
deforestation is definitely my biggest environmental issue. But I mean, I also do think pollution in general contributes to problems with ecosystems. I mean, if you have, global warming aside, whether that's something you believe in or not, fossil fuels still cause a huge amount of pollution, including in the ocean, right? Things like fossil fuels. And even if global warming isn't happening, that's still gonna affect, your forests and your ponds and your ecosystems.
yeah, I mean,
So
I'm
I
very
think
much
I
for
think
like I even take the Trump line. I want clean air, I want clean water. Like I am very much for
oh
that
yeah, for sure.
because I don't see why we can't do that. But the solutions to try and completely like I do actually love nuclear power. And so I am
Yeah.
annoyed
That's
that
good.
people
That's good.
to nuclear power because I do think that is kind of like the solution of the future. But pretending that we can uproot the entire economic status and with in which how it revolves around carbon carbon related or fossil fuels and replace it with some sort of green technology that's not nuclear would be completely disastrous. And it is exactly something that the globalists at the top would love to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you that like, wind power or solar power, those are kind of fake solutions. So I mean, I guess as long as we agree that deforestation is bad and nuclear power is the future, I don't really think it's a big deal,
Yeah.
whether or not global warming exists. We agree on the solutions.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see more nuclear power. Yeah.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. I think we'll have to now get into because I got an hour or two till lunch or dinner. Sorry. So maybe we should start
Oh
first.
yes. Good.
The first topic, which we all agreed on, I think a really big issue because I noticed this a lot on Twitter. This is a very highly divisive and discussed issue, feminism, and I will propose the female question, where is our yes
Mm.
the FQ, has feminism compromised the conservative females, and to what extent? That is the question, because we have some people, the groypers on the right, who say it's entirely compromised, and we have more moderate people on the right who say it's not as compromised. Some people say not at all. It's kind of divided everyone a lot. I want to see our thoughts. Is there any kind of compromise that has happened? Have men compromised on feminism? What is going on? Is this just an exaggeration for goipers? I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a detailed question. There's so much to tackle here. I think before you even get into something like the female question, you have to understand what's underpinning the things that are going to cause certain, feminist progress, which is classical liberalism itself. So
Yes.
what you get in something like the 17th and 18th centuries is classical liberal revolutions. You get writers like Hume, you get Thomas Paine, Common Sense, Locke. They start coming up with ideas surrounding secular concepts of natural rights and viewing people as economic beings, beings that think logically, that take in rational information, empirical data, and then make judgment calls based on that. And really, what the individual is in sort of a classical liberal sense is the epitome of freedom and is the most correct and is placed in a dialectic against the state. And so, because of that, the individual is so valued. And what you get over the next 2 or 3 centuries as we start to move into more Marxist thought, more progressive thought, and now postmodernist thought is that there really are no uh, ontological existing groups. So, things like different races, different ethnicities, those don't really exist. All people are the same. Now, all people have a human nature and dignity from God, but there are realistic differences between people. Those categories get completely destroyed. And then what you get as a consequence in the 20th century is, well, if there's no differences between ethnic groups and nationalities, then really there's no differences between the genders. So why can't women be in the positions men are? Why can't they vote? Why shouldn't they be in leadership? Why shouldn't they be outside the home working? Why can't they be in the military? And then you finally end up, why can't women actually just become men? And so you have to understand that entire line of thinking to get to where we are now, which is a complete collapse of any sort of concepts of hierarchy or structure that relate to the gender question. So I actually want to hear Arthur's thoughts on that, but that's you kind of have to understand the history of thought before you can even really get into this topic.
Yes. Arthur?
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Egalitarianism has been happening for centuries. I mean, John Locke was kind of a feminist. A lot of the stuff he said about gender was very progressive for his time. So I think that feminism can't be separated from the egalitarian traditions that have, kind of been corrupting our culture for centuries. And I think there's no woman alive who isn't at least somewhat tainted by feminism and egalitarianism. I mean, even so-called conservative women, they're still very much in favor of women voting and women working and all this kind of stuff. And I go to a pretty conservative school, and I'll tell you, like, the women there that call themselves conservatives, they act like feminists, and they're at least first or second wave feminists for the most part. Uh, they they don't know their place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was at a TPUSA event this summer, and I don't necessarily completely object to women being involved in some sort of civic sense to a small degree. But like when you're at these events, you still get a sense that like they're somewhat like gynocentric and female dominated to a degree.
Absolutely.
And there's a catering to that. And there is a reality to you do have to win in the current ridiculous democratic setup that we have. You do have to win female voters. So you can't be just like outright ridiculous to that degree because that doesn't help anybody. I mean, that's not going to keep you in power at all.
Especially since
But of course,
voting.
the conservative movement.
They have
What the hell was that?
What?
I was saying, especially.
Something wrong with your mic, dude.
Oh, something wrong.
Dude, there's something wrong with your mic.
Is this better? Something wrong.
Yeah, my guy, your mic is broken. So why don't you reset your audio settings or something? But yeah, that was crazy. That's I guess that that kind of sums it up right there. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, I mean, let's take a look at like conservative female content creators. This crazy phenomenon. Dude,
No,
I'm switching.
that ain't it.
it's over.
Yeah, it's so over. Unplug your mic or something. But I guess we'll just wait for Bennett to figure it out. That was the craziest sound ever. I didn't know what that was. I was like, am I being attacked?
I was so confused.
Wait, is that better?
It sounded like anime girl mode.
Oh, no.
What is going on? What is going on?
There we go.
Oh wait, that was normal.
Okay. Well, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was too busy reacting to
It's crackling. It's crackling like hell. Yeah.
I was saying, especially since if you look at voting, they have like a sometimes 4+ in points ahead of men. They dominate more in voting.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, men are to blame for an extent. Like, why are they not turning out in numbers? Women are. That's a pure men problem. But I think I wanted to highlight real quick was the women conservative content creator, and how if you just take a step back for like 4 seconds, you can see how it's just basically these channels are built on simpery. Like
oh, for sure, it's disgusting.
Yeah, when the stats like 90% males watch a mediocre conservative content creator because they have a nice face. It's a very sad reflection on the intellectual state of the conservative movement, and it as a result actually feminizes men because they spend more time listening to these content creators than people discussing real topics. And female content creators have no problem grifting off it because they get tons of money and they feel like they're doing something they should be doing. But you know, I would say aside from a few like maybe Candace Owens or Brett Cooper has her own sort of cultural niche that she fills and her audience is more 50-50. But past that, like you can't convince me that these creators are not just grifting for cash.
Yeah, that was they had this weird transition too, like Daily Wire. They completely was it when they fired Brett? They replaced her with her friend, and it was like this kind of track down every movement. Daily Wire did some weird stuff there, and Brett Cooper's all right. I used to watch her a lot when I was 14 for reasons, but I just don't think a lot of females go deep enough. I think that's one problem, or they refuse to at least. They don't make those logical conclusions, and that's why a lot of them just don't. You know, Candace Owens is a special exception, and she got fired for it. Girls tend to be much more
Right.
willing to compromise. They're going to fit in more, and they're not really willing to go deep, go that deep in. That's kind of what I see is the problem there.
Your mic is still spurging out, so maybe look into that. But
I feel like cussing right now. I'm mad.
I think I got what you're saying though. Yeah. But as a kind of maybe a little bit of a fetty right-wing content creator said, the mainstream right-wing content, they just put out the slop and you guys slurp it up. And that's true for a lot of people is they get fed like a very safe right-wing narrative. They slop it up. If there's a pretty face on it, they'll watch more. Yeah, it's a pretty sad situation. I don't know if Arthur had any thoughts on that.
Oh wait, is the mic better?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's ridiculous. Oh, Ben, are you back?
I tried switching my mic again. Is that better?
No.
No. Do you just want to use like your phone mic or something?
Maybe I'll do that, but go on, Arthur. I'll mute.
I didn't hear what you said.
I think he's gonna try and switch over, but
Okay.
but yeah, unfortunately, it's like if you think about the thought leaders of a movement and who in the conservative female sphere, I mean, unfortunately, and if you just color outside the lines a little bit, like Candace or Lauren Chen, you immediately get fired or deplatformed. But you know, past those people, who are the women that are putting out like the radical, the really eye-opening ideas where it's like, whoa, you're right. No, they're just like basically reacting to clips. Like that's what like conservative media is like reacting to clips now. And it's like that is just the lowest brow level of content that I can think of.
No, that's so true. I've seen this at the Daily Wire. It's getting so bad. Like even Michael Knowles, who I usually respect, he'll put out these like slop videos of just like reacting to crazy liberal TikToks and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that.
But I mean,
that stuff.
Yeah, it gets the views. It gets the views.
Stuff makes money. Stuff makes money. And as Daily Wire has said so many times, they're about the money. I mean, at least they're upfront about it. Like they want your money. Like that's what they care about. Yeah, and
which is why they have like 45 sponsorships in every video.
Right. They're you know, at least they're kind of honest about it. But people don't really think about it. But it's like they want your cash, and they're honest about wanting your cash, which is pretty funny. But yeah, things like Benny Johnson is another, I think, insufferable content creator.
I'm so glad to agree. I cannot stand that guy. Oh my gosh! Every time I see him, I just like kill me.
I saw him speak at the TPUSA event this summer, and like the dude is like the definition of like the millennial boomer out of touch 40-year-old who just like doesn't get it. And you know, he used to write for I think Vox or BuzzFeed or one of these liberal sites and got caught plagiarizing. And then basically was a Ron DeSantis guy until it was opportunistic for him to jump on the Trump train, and now he just, you know, rides that train for cash essentially. It's like these people are so obviously kind of just go where the money is, but people don't see it. And it's like these people build millions of followers, and it's just like insane to me
Yeah.
because they have nothing really of substance to say.
Well, they're really writing off of people who are more like us, people who are actually like pushing the envelope and getting stuff done and making, ideological videos. And then they just kind of get the profitable scraps. I mean, Trump
Exactly.
Trump wouldn't be as interesting or relevant as he is if everyone was like they are and just played it safe. Someone has to step beyond the boundary.
And look, everyone has their lane. Like not everyone needs to be an ideological envelope pusher. There are lanes for people to
Yeah,
occupy, but the gatekeeping comes into it, that's when it gets annoying. And when they either steal phrases from the people pushing the envelope, like the TPUSA event I was at this summer, they were using America First all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't actually believe in anything that America First is. You just simply copy pasted a term that people have been using and are piggybacking off it now. Like Jack Posobiec was doing the white boy summer thing. Like that's like 3 years old.
oh wow, wow.
It's like, yeah, another millennial boomer out of touch moment. It's like, and then all the boomers in the front were like, "Wow, white boy summer, America first." You're right, and it's like, dude, this is like all this stuff is like 4 years old, and
Yep.
now you've caught on to it.
It's honestly kind of infuriating to see all the like totally normie Republicans and like my MAGA grandpa saying like America first. It's like you don't know what that means. Like if you support Israel, you do not get to use America first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean you're not gonna be able to reach anybody over age of 30 really with something like that. I mean, that's generally my experience.
With what? The Israel thing?
Yeah, the Israel question is a really tough one, especially someone who, yeah, came of age in the book.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Bennett, are we back?
Oh, is my audio a little better? I tried to fix it a bit.
Not really, to be honest.
I might just type at this point, but if you could kind of hear anything, maybe the audience will hear in the live stream.
Yep.
But I was 16, so I spent most of those like early. I was like 14. PragerU is like Benny Johnson. A lot of these kind of content creators, but the problem was they never they never added anything there. They were very bland.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we lost retaking.
No, not taking. My entire OBS studio is just kind of freezing. Like the mic when I move it is kind of slow. I'm trying to delete storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if I delete storage, it'll get better. But oh, I hate that. It's so slow. It's so slow.
It's a little better.
Oh, my mic's a little better. Awesome, awesome. He'll probably come back.
So do you want to talk about the age gap question?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's address that. So, respectfully. Oh, okay. Now it joins.
Hey,
Yo,
welcome back.
hey, let's go. Retake.
Okay, I'm back now.
Okay. I think the
Cool.
audience got a little better for me. I don't know how the audience will hear. I hope the audience hears my mic fine.
Yeah, I'll check YouTube. But
Yeah. It was working fine last week. I don't know what's going on now. Maybe since I'm recording it at the same time as live streaming, I could just stop the recording. I tried to do this for uploading the video. 30, 40-minute video.
Yeah, OBS has problems sometimes like that. Where you'll get audio settings issues because Discord has different settings than OBS. That's why StreamYard is easier to use. But
Okay,
um,
you're very good at advertising StreamYard, so I will do actually.
it's just yeah,
Yeah, are you
it's just
sponsored by
easier
them
to
by
use.
any
But
chance?
no way, man. I'm only sponsored by Birch Gold. That's a joke, of course. And let's see, what's the other one? ExpressVPN. That's also a joke.
Oh my gosh.
What
Underwear.
else does
What is it, like,
DW have?
they have the
Oh
underwear
no,
line.
what's the mattress one? Let's see. Oh, and yeah, I'm sponsored by Jordan Peterson's Exodus series. Also a joke, but I get ads for that like literally on Facebook. They just one Jordan Peterson ad after another about him
Yeah.
ranting about the gospels and how symbolic they are, important the archetypes and goodness.
He
Talk about a pseudo intellectual. Don't get me started on Jordan Peterson, but
yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, yeah. I think I left my thought off on it's very tough to convince people over 30 the Israel question, and
Yeah.
maybe you've had a different experience, but that's my experience. They're not really open to because that's going to tie into the brand of Christianity that exists within America. So that's an even deeper question.
Maybe
We
should
were
get
supposed
back
to talk about
to
feminism, I
yeah.
think.
Let's get back to the main one. We got 1 hour
Mm.
left. So I think
Okay, I did have a way to tie that in though, because
oh yeah.
when I was listening to someone like Benny Johnson speak at the TPUSA event, his message to young men was this, and this just shows how out of touch these people are,
What you gotta
and they
say?
don't understand the issues of men under 22 or whatever age, really, or Zoomer age and below. Because he goes, here's my advice for young men: just get married. He's like, just do it, just get married. It's like if you understand the statistics surrounding the dating question, for example, for a lot of conservative men, you would know that's the most ignorant, dumb statement you can. Like, I don't disagree with the advice, but acting like there's just a lot of young conservative men just sitting around not getting married because like they don't want to, I think it's just it doesn't really get dumber than that, in my opinion. Like, you don't surrender your intellectual faculties more than saying something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
very
big
out of
environment.
touch.
Oh yes, you go. You can go real quick, Arthur. I'll answer right after. Arthur, buddy?
Yeah, I mean there aren't good options available for the most part, and it's hard to do it. There aren't good communities within which to make it happen. It's just like it's not as simple as like, oh, just get married.
Yeah,
And
like the advice ends
giving
there.
giving
Like
that
just
simple advice. Yes,
yeah, just
yeah.
press one button and you've activated the marriage code as you know you're logged in now. It's like that's not how it works anymore. It's
No,
not
not
even like I remember dating in the early 2010s and it was very different. That's how quickly this Yeah, this is how quickly this thing has changed. And if you're a conservative man in your teens, I mean, I don't have good advice for you because you're gonna have to be really intent on how you go about this whole situation. Because if we look at the polarity between men and women, specifically under 20, and their views, you know, it's gonna be an uphill battle for you.
It's not a
Yeah,
good
Bennett, you might be cooked.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can agree Bennett's cooked. I mean,
no.
this-
Wait,
Yeah.
I have the only white pill. Well, no, I had the only white pill.
Okay.
There was one girl I liked, but that's the other problem. They're all taken because there's too much of a market for guys like me. So now I have to. I'm just kind of alone, man. But
I would say this, and you know, if you're a guy in your teens, you don't have to be so concerned about the
yeah, I'm not
the
focused
dating
on
game, so to
dating.
speak.
Yeah, in fact,
That's your time. I mean,
yeah,
you need you you need to gain social experience talking to women. You can't be a spurg.
Wait, here's what
But
I do. Here's what I
you know,
do,
you
dude.
really need.
Is now I'll be real quick. I have been very, very proactive, not with dating, but with selling cookies. I've made $3,000 off of just going up to any kid, whether guy, girl, freshman, senior, just saying, "Hey, want to buy my cookies?" And not even kidding you, like 60% of the market is just freshman girls. I just go in and I do
You're
it.
just as bad as the Daily Wire. You're just trying to sell people stuff constantly.
Well, well, I want to
I'm
finish
joking.
college.
No, that's actually
Just
kind of a
going.
leap in it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. No,
respect that.
Yeah.
no, I do. I respect it. That's a joke, of course. But you need to
Yeah.
spend that time. You know, that teens, early 20s. That's when you're in position to start building your life. And spending so much time, you can spend a little bit of time, but spending so much time obsessed with the girl question and partying and doing all this stuff that nobody really cares about at the end of the day, is not going to end you up in a good spot. You need to think about, where's my life going? What can I do? How can I build my income? How can I put myself at the top of the, um, you know, sexual marketplace pyramid so that I'm in good position instead of, simping over mid girls who are feminists.
Yeah.
I
That
fully agree with that advice. Yeah, that's
that
absolutely
was
true.
the story of my when I was young, like what, 15, early 15. I was exactly like that. And now it's a lot of stuff has changed because I learned, like I got red pilled. And yeah, I'm just
Uh-huh.
focusing on college now, but 15 was a whole nother era. It was way worse 14 actually, but yeah, things got better over time.
Yeah, and there are aspects of like manosphere red pill stuff that like you need to
Oh yeah.
learn about that. But the people who just dwell in manosphere red pill stuff, it's just an endless cycle. They're just as bad as the Daily Wire grifter people
Oh yeah, there's
because they just continue to make things worse. They don't offer solutions.
I went through
It's
both
like you need to learn
extremes.
what, hypergamy is.
I went through
Yeah, you
both
need to learn these
extremes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
phases.
just watching like
I think
Pearl and yeah. Go ahead.
I think more so than them being opposites, they're actually kind of the same in some ways. Like the normie simp and the like totally manosphere anti-tape follower, what they have in common is that they're both obsessed with women and like all they think about is sex. And what really matters is, your family and God and like having a good career and stuff. And you shouldn't be thinking about women all the time. And so I think they both fall into the exact same era.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. The feminist position and the manosphere position are equal, are both worldviews that center around women. It's
Almost like
just
the
Yes,
two
horseshoe
it's
yes.
two
theory.
sides of a dialectical
It's
coin.
almost like the horseshoe theory.
Yeah. Well, once you realize that a lot of manufactured conflict is based on these sort of forced dialectical issues, like it's right left, it's capitalism versus socialism, or it's men versus women. This is all like manufactured stuff to try and get you to fall into some sort of false dialectical sense.
Yeah.
Yep,
My favorite one
very
is
true.
it's socialism or it's capitalism. And it's like this is the dumbest dialectic because all all the writers of those traditions, like for example Marx, he says, "Oh no, don't worry. Capitalism will be employed to get to the eventual socialist utopia end goal." So it's like even the socialist writers realize that capitalism can be utilized to achieve, their sort of globalist ends. So it's like it's never really as it seems, but people can't even break out of these ways of thinking, unfortunately. And that's why we're stuck where we're at as a country. It's like it's individual freedom versus the government. And it's like that's such a stupid way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. I think a lot of it comes down to party politics.
Yeah.
With party politics, people just see everything that's in the other team is automatically bad. Everything that's in quote unquote my team is correct. And in reality,
Mhm.
they're both they're both stupid.
Yeah,
And some
exactly
people
right.
there's some correct things in both.
Yeah. I totally.
Yeah, it's like
And
people have lost the inability to to think critically.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want to have this big tent, but we also do believe like we should be able to make compromise and team with people who are similar to our ideologies. We should be able to make those alliances. We don't need to be at war with everybody. And that's why I think the biggest thing that the the far distance get wrong. They don't know how to actually be a team player, and that doesn't mean we have to like give up any of our values. I think if we compromise any of the major values, I think that's the problem. I think on smaller scale things, like I think on economic issues, we're willing to have a little bit more concession. We're willing to compromise a little more. But I think there are some values where we can't change those, and other values where it's not mattering as much. Like I mentioned, economics, and maybe on like the guy.
Dude, your microphone's like, dude, it's like Jordan Peterson on painkillers. Like your microphone is just, yeah, it's bad.
What's wrong with the mic? That's strange.
You break up like every once in.
Well, you can still hear my point.
But I did get the.
Yeah. And
I could hear your point. Yeah. And here, like, if you're a young conservative man today, for example, and you're not looking for women in churches, I don't know what you think is going to happen. It's not 1976 where like you just can meet any girl and they have like traditional values. That's not how anything's work. I know that's how boomers think the world works, but that's not how the world works anymore. But stop looking for women outside of church communities. And even a lot of women in those they may have a verse in their Instagram bio and a cross around their neck, but you got to really be careful about vetting any women that you're going to invest your time in.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem too, is like it's tough for men to think like this when even churches are captured by women. I mean, go to a lot of your churches, what do you got? You got women running the services, you got, if you go to a non-conservative one, you got women preaching now. They're directing things. And so it's like, where do you turn to? And, that's obviously the tough part. You got to do your research. You got to figure out where you can go. And it may be more challenging, but in the end, you got to do what's right, or be willing to compromise on some things, I guess, if you're able to.
That's very true. Yeah, the church has an inherent tendency to become feminized, which is why you really gotta make sure not to let the camel's nose to the tent. I think we really need to be not as generous with like, oh yeah, we won't have women pastors, but we'll have women speakers and women running this program and that program. At some point, the church runs a very, very high danger of becoming a feminized institution, and then men are going to turn to something else, whether that's atheism or like masculine paganism or something stupid like that. They're not going to want to go to church.
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. That's why another thing the BoomerCon doesn't understand is slippery slopes. So they don't understand. They're like, well, we had to let women vote, right? But like the real bad stuff happened. That was all LBJ. That was the 60s. Like that's when things really got off the rails. It's like, okay, well, when we let women into the workforce, well, we had to let them work, right? I mean, they were on painkillers and alcoholics while in the home, so we had to let that, right? Okay, well, what about women in CEO positions or church leadership positions? Well, it's really mean if we don't, right? They don't understand how slippery slopes are a thing.
Yeah,
that when you give an inch, they will take a mile.
I mentioned that where it started with the contraceptions, and
exactly.
Michael Jones said. Michael Jones is right about it all, man.
I mean, it started with the British Royal Society funding the suffrage movement in the early 20th century. That was an astroturf thing. That was not an organic thing that women wanted. That was something that different power structures saw a way that they could utilize and take advantage of. So they initiated, but it wasn't something women wanted. No one even acknowledges that basically how household voting was basically what we had.
like when you boost your ideology, just like Hearts of Iron 4, they pursued a different pathway in the routes. Let's say your pathway you could play. We went the liberal way, and then we boosted the liberals, and that's the pathway we went on.
Yeah, right. And now the problem is when you let too much out, is now Pandora's box is open. I mean, you're telling me we're going to repeal the 19th? I mean, you're insane. I mean, it would take a ridiculous level of revolution for that to happen, right? I mean, what would have to occur would be ridiculous. But you had a moment where that wasn't the case. But it's like, what happened? So it's a lesson for other things related to that issue. But at this point, what isn't out of the box at this point? I mean, I hate to even give this attention, but you have women posting about sleeping with 100 guys and 24 hours and stuff. It's like, how much worse does it need to get before people start going, you know what, maybe my so-called idea of individual freedom, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's liberalism and classical liberalism and libertarianism. Maybe that's the issue, but they'll never think that way. They'll think, well, people just got to make better choices, I guess.
Or try to find some convoluted way to say it's actually because of welfare or some government program gone awry. That's the real reason we're having social decay.
Right. Oh, it was Obama.
Like the nature of man. Yeah, it was Obama.
Yeah. Dude, Obama, are you seriously think that? I mean, of course, there's social degeneracy that happens under Democratic presidents, but it's like, I mean, you're telling me that's the reason we're here? No, it's because stuff like OF, stuff like TikTok, Supergram, these ridiculous, degenerate mind control apps, we let it happen because of a free market or something, and you destroyed a generation. But hey, you made a lot of money, Boomer.
Yep.
It's all superficial.
No, I think something that's
it's just not just all superficial. Whenever I see people go on social media, it's I'm in high school. It's just completely people fake their personalities nowadays all the time. It's just so fake, and I don't like it. It always gives off the wrong vibe when the girls act like overtly positive when they're dealing with something, or the guys will act. A lot of the guys in my school, unfortunately, have a problem where they're just not doing anything. That's the hardest thing.
I mean,
or they just completely ignore anything and just make jokes about Hitler.
Yeah. I mean, I'll act as Boomer again. Okay, like I remember being around that age, like in the early 2010s, when really no one used Instagram or Facebook that much. Like it was a DM app essentially. No one was obsessed with it like they are now. There's no TikTok. There's no things like that. And people were like kind of normal and well adjusted. Like you could kind of talk to them. The dating market wasn't completely effed up, crazy amounts. But like we have to be realistic about how things like these apps lean into the bad tendencies of the female population. That's just a reality. Just like this vices that lean into the bad tendencies of male population, such as violence, greed, things like that. These apps are specifically designed to lean into the negative nature aspects of women, but no one wants to seem to acknowledge that because that would be sexist, and they should just choose to delete it.
Yeah, Instagram has done almost as much damage to women as pornography has done to men. It's insanely addictive. Turns all vices up to 11. Turns people into like vain, superficial, just insipid humans that don't have any deeper thoughts. And no one talks about how bad it is. It's just kind of like a meme, like, oh, Instagram's addictive. It's like, this is a real problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and whenever you bring up to people, well, these things need to be banned or regulated. Well, who's going to decide that? I mean, is that really where you stop the buck? You care so little about the well-being of your citizens. Like, well, we can't decide who's going to determine which apps are okay and not okay, so we're just not going to do anything. And it's like, are you serious? That's where this ends. It's like, who decides? We do. We decide. We freaking decide. We take power and we go, you know what? These things are okay. These things are not okay.
The who gets to decide argument is one of the most horrible, stupid arguments, and I just every time I hear it, I can tell there's zero thought behind it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
So,
exactly
and that's
true.
where when people have libertarian programming, right, from a young
Yep.
age, neocon, libertarian, influenced by some foreign nation related programming, they're gonna respond in that way because they think, well, it's degenerate, but like they chose to do it, and like we can choose to abstain from it, and like how does it affect you, bro? And it's like, if society is a giant degenerate hellhole, turns out that affects me quite a bit, and even
Yeah.
more than that, that's gonna affect my future children. I mean, if it's this bad now, what's it gonna be like for my, prodigy? It's gonna be like a hellscape unless we're able to take power or something.
Yeah. No man is an island.
Mhm.
There's no such thing as a personal vice.
Right. But if you think, oh, well, just believe in the NAP and like as long as no one affects someone else, we should all be fine. It's like,
It's
I mean,
it's so
are
impersonal.
you gonna enforce the NAP?
It's very impersonal. It's the lack of care because and that's one thing I liked. Redeem Zoo mentioned it too. Places like the Midwest, a lot of people are very communal, and that's like a really good thing. You have and it's not to the same extent as it used to, but you have still some good regions where people are a community and they're putting in like this kind of teamwork together. Like people actually care, And it's like if my neighbor is not doing well, I should have an obligation to help them out. And unfortunately, I don't see the same extent in like the South. I think there's a lot of I think the South and somewhere like in the West. I think the West Coast also has a problem, but they're just not religious, where it's very individualistic. And
Yeah.
that's what
I
we
mean,
get
I
with
don't know where
Protestants sometimes. They can be very individualistic and ignore that. That's my big critique there, but
I don't I don't know where Arthur's from. I mean, I'm from the West Coast. I've been to the South, and it's certainly much better. Like in terms of communal, like it. If you think the South is bad, just go to like blue states, man. I mean, it's just like dystopia there.
blue states.
No, the South is so much better.
Not.
Yeah. South, I went to the
I
Midwest briefly. The
don't go to
Midwest was seemed
Louisiana,
better.
Mississippi, or Alabama though. They're like I know people from there. It's unless like you want to live on a farm, they're not really the best. I think as someone who's living in Texas, Texas is definitely dope. You need to live if you can. Florida's great. North Carolina's good. I think the southern states. I'm talking like a lot. The Baptists also have a bit of a problem there, but overall, the problem is just also the evangelicals. They don't. They're very what's it? They're super pro Israel. They don't really get it. A lot of them are very boom oriented. They look at how they vote or what they believe. But I think they have good societies.
Right.
Things run pretty decent there.
And that's where you get to the funny point where it's like you get the GROYPER groups, and they're gonna be like, well, if we just had like a Catholic dominated country, bro, like that would fix everything. And it's like,
You are
oh,
dick.
you mean the Skittles Vatican Catholics who vote like 55-60% Dem? Okay, buddy, sure, yeah, that'll fix everything. So
I'm not Catholic. Catholics don't even vote. They vote significantly less for anything conservative. It was 56. The evangelicals are 66 towards Trump.
right.
Yeah. Oh, and let's pretend that the Jews are voting conservative. It was like what 70, 75 Democrat. That they voted more Democrat than atheists.
Dude, no one can hear you.
Okay.
Your mic is messed up.
I'm saying even the atheists voted more for Trump compared to the Jewish vote.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was interesting. It was 80%. Was it for Kamala? That's it's Israelis like Trump more.
Yeah.
But the ones in America they don't like Trump.
I saw I was in a group chat with like some of my friends or whatever, and someone talked about how they posted a meme about how much Democrats hated, Jews or whatever. And then I just posted like something back. I was like, well, they vote 80-20 Democrat. And it's like, oh, it's because of Stockholm syndrome. That's why it happens. And it's like,
Oh my gosh, that's
people will
brain
cope.
dead.
Yeah, we'll find any way to cope about, the J question. Or whatever. How does every stream get back to the J question? But
It's ubiquitous.
it's inevitable,
It's
I guess.
inevitable.
That's like technocratics, man, specialty. Like, I could talk about some JQ stuff, but I'm more interested in other topics. But all roads lead to the JQ.
That was something we talked on a bit in our own thing. I think it's better if we have our critique on, more of a tax upon Israel over, the Jews themselves, because it's just not ever going to become, I'm thinking a political perspective, it's never going to win. But second, it would be more productive because people would get better on the side of actually attacking Israel or fighting back on it and maybe voting for someone who could stand against it better. It'd be more productive, and yeah, that's what we both kind of agreed upon. Even though I think on these circles, it's okay if we critique, Jews. I'm just saying, when we go into actual politics, you kind of have to be a little bit more careful on what you mention, which is annoying.
Well, okay, for the record, I think like anti-Semitism is stupid, and like
Yes.
the Groypers are like totally wrong on all that stuff. But like, the problem is people use the you're an anti-Semite, like, to just shut down any conversation about Israel or Israel lobby or anything like that.
Right.
But we also, I mean, I didn't quite hear what you said, Bennett, but I think this is what the gist of it. I do agree that like it's bad optics for no reason to just be like, Groyper tier, actually anti-Semitic. Like that's just stupid.
No. And it ends up being wrong. And like I have questions
Yeah,
about
it is.
the Nick Fuego fan club and who is directing how they act, because there's definitely some suspicions there. But yeah, like any ideas that like an ethnic group is just evil, it's like, well, that's just not correct. I mean, that's just not how things work. Yeah, it's a stupid way to think. It's very, I would say, FED related behavior to try and do that. And yeah, it would never even work at a scale, political scale at all. Like, could you imagine Trump just going out and like, we're gonna talk about the JQ? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I mean, are you serious? It's like, I mean,
Yeah,
that would
no.
never ever work.
Well, the problem is just
That's why the
Jews
whole
are disproportionately rich. That's probably why they're like so liberal together. It's because it'd be the same if like the Muslims were disproportionately rich. That's why you see a lot of rich Muslims more atheistic also. That's at least how I see it. I don't think it's because it's like they all are just working together to destroy America. I think it's more they're disproportionately richer. Richer people tend to be more atheist and not for Christian values. Makes sense, right? Peter Thiel, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it
I think that's great.
related to the men masculinity question. If you look at who owns things like the dating apps, the BORN websites, things like that, you don't have to do a lot of dot connecting for you to explain, who kind of is in charge of those things. So, you can recognize patterns. We can understand how group trends do exist, but trying to imply that like intrinsically one group of people is just bad, it's just not correct or even theologically true. So, but yeah, you're allowed to notice patterns.
No, yeah. There's a very big difference there.
Right.
We're not doing the group evolution strategy.
Yeah.
McDonald, that kind of thing. Like that's just kind of brain dead.
But unintelligent people don't have the ability to understand distinctions, so they like to collapse things into, well, it's just all one thing. They want to simplify things always.
Yes.
And it's like, sometimes things have distinctions and things are nuanced. And I'm sorry that you're going to have to understand that. Just like if you have a conversation with a boomer who you're like, well, you hate Israel, you hate, this or whatever. And it's like, we have to understand sometimes things have nuance and sometimes things have complicated histories, you know?
Yeah.
Just like I can vote for Trump, but understand that he's not perfect on every issue. But it's like you're confusing ideology with politics, which is about compromise and pragmatism. It's like you have to understand that those are different.
Absolutely.
I'm a little more
Just like when
disappointed I still probably would have voted for Trump to support him, but I'm very disappointed. It's like, for one, I don't really see anyone else other than Vance close enough to take over. And Vance, he's better on social, but he's really bad on the Israel issue. And then Trump's just
so is every politician. This is why when the Nick Fuego fan club was like, vote Kamala, it's like, you think Kamala's gonna cut off the weapons to
Right.
Israel? I
Exactly.
mean, are you this stupid? It's like that's when I sort of realized that there was maybe other factors involved in what they do. But it's like, you think electing Kamala and Tim Walz was gonna like bring in the Iranian supremacy in the Middle East? I mean, you must be stupid. There's
No,
just
you
as
don't get
many.
it. This group of Democrats is going to totally reverse 60 years of American foreign policy.
Right,
This,
exactly.
this
Yeah, they're
time
gonna
they're going
make
to follow through on their promises.
yeah. It's like, well, Trump's bad on this JQ issue, and it's like, okay, so is like every politician ever. It's called incrementalism. It is a thing, and it has happened over the last decade, believe it or not, on some issues. But it's like some things are going to take more time than others.
I'm concerned for
Just like
No,
on
incrementalism is absolutely true. I mean, if you look at Trump in his first election, he's got a pride flag and he's waving it on stage and stuff like that. Like, he has become so much more one of us because that's how you win is incremental changes and not going wild over stupid stuff that the vast majority of people are going to find repulsive.
right, or if you think about the stabby, he was promoting the stabby hard in 2021. And then people were
Right.
booing him so much at rallies. He was like, okay, I guess that's not a thing I should do anymore, right? At least shows that he's
Right.
receptive. I mean, Mitt Romney was not receptive. Ron DeSantis is not receptive.
No.
These people don't care about you. I mean, maybe DeSantis a little bit, but like, let's be real here. These people really don't care. They're opportunistic, and so are most people. But he showed some inclination that he cared.
Yeah, I think Trump is good faith. I do think, however, he's definitely. I don't think he compromised. I think that's far from it, but I do think certain issues are forced into, like the E5H, the abortion thing. I really that maybe he's just saying it's a one-time thing which we forgive. I just really hope that he actually, we gotta like pressure him back in. I think we gotta put pressure. Maybe fight with money on our own if we can ever do that. I don't think we can abandon him. I just don't think that's the right thing to do. But I am just
Around election time, I got really annoyed by these virtue signaling conservatives. Like, I'm not going to vote Trump because of the abortion issue, blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so he was the Republican that made the most progress on the issue ever, and then you're going to punish him for it by overturning Roe v. Wade,
that's crazy.
and then now it's not our fault that all your pro-life groups have no clue what to do now, suck at messaging, and then people like Lil Rose grift for $35,000 speeches. That's not our problem. That's for you guys to figure out how to push the movement forward next. But blaming Trump, like Ben Zyblost, he's this like writer for Daily Wire and stuff, like complaining about how Trump is so, against pro-life movements. I can't vote for him. Like Kamala is pro-life. I mean, these people are just honestly so stupid. That's why when they ever get in Twitter spaces, they get demolished, even by people like Nick Fuego, because they honestly are super dishonest. They live in these bubbles, and it's just, I don't know how they get to these positions. I guess it's the ego, it's the pride.
Yeah. I think it's certainly weird because wasn't Nick, he was like with Trump since 2016. He like passed flyers in New New Hampshire. That's just weird to me that like he came that much fighting back. I don't really want to say it's radicalization or maybe a stab. I would like to see more proof. I guess I don't know how to describe it, but I think it's certainly maybe it is pride. Maybe he's too prideful, or maybe he's just asking for too much. Whoever is whatever the reason, I just
Well,
think he's being so unrealistic and really
he's acting a certain. Yeah, I mean, I have just he was at J6 and he didn't get arrested. Just connect the dots from there, and
he didn't go in
okay.
to the place,
Well,
but I do think I don't know, something did change after I wasn't really there too much.
yeah,
I watched
I have my
2024.
reservations. Let's just.
So
I mean, if I was to theorize, I would say he's just contrarian by nature. And now that, and you know, back when Trump was kind of an edgy figure to support, he was all over it. But now that Trump has become the mainstream of the conservative movement, and you know, a majority of the voters support Trump, now it's not edgy anymore. Now he has to, you know, find something else that makes him interesting, and so he has
Right.
to counter signal Trump.
Right. The nature of media makes these people have to be inventive sometimes with their stances. You know, if they're not going to be mainstream, like you're Ben Shapiro, for instance, you don't have to change. You can just grift forever. People will watch you. You'll make tons of money. Da 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 da. But if your brand is being edgy, and your audience expects you to be edgy, you have to keep upping the ante with the edginess. And
Yep.
you know, you can't all of a sudden just kind of settle into, well, this is it. This is the show. It's like, no, I watch you because you're edgy and different. And so that just means you have to continue to push the envelope.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That is true. And yeah, I don't know what the future of their movement is, but the problem I worry is just it could easily go back to his favor if things go wrong. That's how I see it. Like if Trump just completely compromises, which I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm saying, well, there's a possibility in everything. If it does happen, then he can easily become popular again, or someone like him. That's just the reality. Because if he could blow up that quickly from those years before, right? 2022, 2023, the Kanye, that can happen very quickly. And that's what the right wing usually can become very popular very quickly. You know, with a lot of figures easily taken popularity within years. So I think
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to waste
the
much more oxygen on this issue because yeah, I mean, it's just so much better people to represent the ideas.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I
You
give
know,
him credit for popularizing the America First slogan, or at least contributing. But I think he's just now. It's like a movie. It started out really good. A lot of his older clips I actually really enjoyed. He seemed much better in like 2018, 2019, and he kind of
yeah.
sequel after sequel. He kind of just fell off. But honestly, I think he was awesome in 2019. He seemed pretty cool, but now it just seems like he's got nothing to work with anymore. And
I do think younger conservative-minded people are more willing to go for third rails, and something like a women question in politics was a third rail that, I mean, you'll never see the Daily Wire ever. Like, you ever seen Matt Walsh talk about how, you know, there's too many female conservative content creators? I mean, they will never talk about this. Yeah, they'll never discuss that because that's just way too outside the bounds. Because of their business model, they have to be incredibly safe. But no one wants to talk about that specific issue. I mean, if your movement is filled with individuals like that, you're going to get a very feminized movement. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think as long as someone like, let's take Pearl, for example, right? Kind of grifty-ish, kind of contrarian. I disagree on a lot of stuff, but I think she's worth like 4 of these, like, you know, mid-level female conservative commentators who react to feminism clips or something. But, like, at least there's some content there, food for thought. At least it's not just like garbage.
No, that's true. Yeah. At least she's provoking some sort of thought when I watch her instead of just like the same things over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
Even if the thoughts that she's spreading are kind of stupid. At least it's something.
exactly. The Michael Knowles interview with her is it's a really kind of interesting tale because it's basically contrarian, uninformed woman versus out of touch boomer conservative. Now, Michael Knowles is good on some issues. When it relates to
I like Michael Knowles quite a lot, actually.
yeah, but in that interview, he
He's the best
displays a
example
lot
liar,
of
but the standard's low.
Definitely the best. Yeah.
yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I cut him some slack because I know he's in a tough position with where he is because he's got old Ben Shapiro breathing down his neck every 5 seconds, probably.
Exactly.
Come on, go.
Yeah. But that interview displays even his out of touchness with the current status of what young men are dealing with and how he just doesn't understand, for example, how bad the divorce laws are in America. Now, does that mean you shouldn't get married? No. But it's like to just ignore that as a non-issue and just be like, well, I know the divorce laws are like really awful and like we basically incentivize women to divorce you, but like you should still pretty much do it anyways. Just like find a good woman, bro. Just like choose right. And it's like that's the best you got for people. Yikes.
Come on, man.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I tried to fix it. Didn't work out so well, so I'm not really going to do that pathway. I'll wait till I'm like 20. Thank you. And yeah, I'll stick with waiting till 20, and then I'll start looking around. It's better have a good stand first before you look around. I think it's good to have a strong stand. You know, people should get, men should get jobs. Men should be able to actually be financially stronger before they're ready to date. And
I think, yeah, you should. I'm a big proponent of getting on your own feet first. And I also think that if you're in a position where you feel like you need a girlfriend, that's exactly when you shouldn't get one. Like, you need to be emotionally independent and stable as your own person first.
Right.
So you need emotional and financial security.
Yeah, I mean, society definitely wants to promote like, well, a girlfriend or boyfriend that'll complete you. Like that's what's missing, and it's like what's missing is spiritual deficiency.
The Disney lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Marriage is a natural good that is necessary, and men and women have desires for, but like that's not gonna fix your problems. Certainly.
Yeah. If anything, it might exacerbate some of them.
Right, exactly. But it's like, okay, Michael Knowles, or Benny Johnson. Hi, how are you doing? You said young men just get married, right? And it's like, okay, do you understand that 75% of women under 30 in America are either overweight or obese? Are you gonna talk about that? Because so that cuts down your pool by 75%. And then it's like from there, how many of those remaining women are Christian? We'll throw Catholics in there too. Okay, now you're down, to 10%. How many of them are married? Oh, 2/3 of them are married. Okay, now you're down to 4% of women. And it's like, have you ever even thought about this when you make these statements? Are you even going to address this issue? It's like no one seems to even care. And it's like it's causing a population issue. It's like, do you want to see the population continue to decline? Because that's what's going to happen. And you know what they're going to call for? They're going to call, we need more workers. We need to import more people. India's got plenty of people. Yeah. I mean, that's where this is going.
Yeah, let's bring a couple million Indians over here. Fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
and conservatives will never.
Jobs. What about me? I'm trying to get like a finance degree in college, UTSA, Texas. It's like, what about me? Come on, man.
Right. Yeah. And conservatives, when you tell them, hey, maybe we should have programs that give more money to families that have, 2 or more kids that are married and together. Well, no, you're incentivizing. You're picking one group of people over another. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm glad you've caught on.
Yeah. That sounds an awful lot like communism, man. I don't know. That sounds like something Stalin would do, or
Right.
Mao or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's super mean. Like, you're treating people differently. Yeah, guess
Being
what? That's
racist, but ways to
unavoidable.
show it.
You ever heard of you ever heard of tax brackets before? That's treating people differently. You ever heard of child income or income tax credits based on children you have? That's called treating people differently.
Yeah.
So stupid. Like, do you want a declining birth rate? Okay, how do we fix it? Well, like, just have more kids, bro. What if everyone is broke and can't find a partner? Just get married, bro. Like, that's where the conversation ends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
All
don't
right,
know,
boys.
Arthur.
wait, I want to hear your
Okay.
thoughts. So, there is theory. I think
Yeah.
this is something wonderful to propose. Limiting the welfare state. The welfare state is claimed to be one of the bigger contributors to the birth rate. I'm in the mix. I want your thoughts. Do you think shrinking down the welfare will make the birth rates higher, or do you think it will cause abuse rates to go up or something? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings, but I also think there's a danger that if you make it harder for young families to like, get by, and if you cut off some of those support systems, that's only going to make it harder to have kids and make people less likely to have kids. So I think, I'm not a huge fan of the welfare state, but like certain social programs, I think could definitely make it easier to raise a family. And I think that's something that conservatives should push for. So I don't think the
Yeah.
solution is like this kind of libertarian, like, well, cut off all the welfare state, cut off every government support, and people will just like return to the 1950s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? Stop giving money to Ukraine and Israel and take that money and pay women to stay home and have kids. Done. I mean, well, that's like
Military
$1 trillion
budget
right
is
there, right?
massive. The military budget.
No, you
It's
can't do that. Like, oh
unthinkable.
no.
It's like 800
Right.
billion. 800
It's
billion
it's
a year.
crazy big.
That doesn't, I didn't think even including Ukraine. So that's like nearly $1 trillion was spent this year for like the military budget. That's crazy. That's insane. We can cut that in half. We still spend more than China's military budget.
It's like the solution to these problems are actually pretty simple. But one, conservatives are so toothless and so brainwashed into this liberal way of thinking that they disable themselves from enacting the solutions.
Yep.
And it's very frustrating. It's like, well, you know how to fix the birth rate. Have people have more kids. Like, that's the really simple fix. Well, you can't because this thing, and it's like, dude, where are we at?
Yeah. Boys, I'm actually pulling into the place I'm staying, so I'm gonna have to hop off.
All right, great talking to you, dude.
Yeah, good talking to both of you guys. I will keep in touch. Have a good night, guys.
All right, have a good night, man. All right, retake. How long do you can go on unless you want to end it?
Yeah, I mean, I can barely even hear your mic, so
Man,
we'll probably
laggy from the recording. That's the problem. I'm like 1 hour recording. I'm gonna upload it as a video. But were you satisfied? Did you find like this useful? Do you think we got good progress?
it was great, man. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. Despite
Loved having Arthur on too. Arthur's a
yes.
I mean, it's still crackling. It's like,
Well, despite that, it doesn't matter because I'm still gonna be streaming. We still got everything ready. That's
what's up.
it doesn't matter how bad the mic is. I'm still ready. I spent more time focused on the suits, the hair. I didn't even check the audio. Thumbnail. Well, the thumbnail's important. I'll fix the audio. I might get a new microphone, honestly. This is 3 years old.
It's not the mic. That's an audio setting issue.
Maybe do you think the output is bad? I can change the output.
Why don't you end the stream first and we can talk about that?
Wait, is it better?
No.
Okay, well, I might end the stream. Oh, by the way, there's one set I think, I don't know how to find it, but it can make me sound like Trump or Biden. It's connected with the AI. Alright, I think we've recorded far enough. Thank you so much for watching the stream. I think we got everything there. We got the date, got liberalism, and we talked on neocons, and we got the Quakers, you know, mentioning the